and welcome to another episode of the Grow Your Occupancy podcast. I'm Julie Podewitz, CEO and founder of Grow Your Occupancy. If you are interested in learning a little bit more about us and what we do, you can jump on the website, which is growyyouroccupancy.com. If you're enjoying the podcast, please click like and share and the subscribe button. I'm reminded to remind you all of that subscribe button because it helps the algorithm. It helps others like you find us. And you don't want to miss today's episode because today I'm really, really excited to learn from these two giants in our industry, welcoming Andrea Marchesotti, the National Director of Sales, and Amy DePreker, the Vice President of Sales and Marketing, both from Artis Senior Living. Welcome.
Thanks for having us, Julie.
Well, I am so thrilled, and I was telling them before we started how alike you can. You could be sisters. I love it. You start working together long enough, and y'all become a family.
She's the older sister.
Hey, that's not true. We have had the fortunate opportunity to work together, I think almost 12 years now.
It's amazing. Tell us a little bit about Artis.
Great. Well, Julie, thank you for having us on this podcast because we always love the opportunity to talk about Artis Senior Living. Our company is a family-run business. We're owned by the Bainham family, very philanthropic family, who also owns a group of hotels as well. And we're a family-run business. And really, I feel like in the senior living space, that really makes us unique. We started Artis Senior Living 10 years ago in 2012. And really, when I started 6 years ago, we only had 5 communities. So we've seen a lot of growth in the past 6 years. We now have 27 communities in 11 different states. So what do we do at Artis Senior Living? We are assisted living communities that focus on caring for people that have cognitive impairment. That is our focus. And so even though we say we're a memory care community, Julie, really our whole philosophy and what we stand on as a company is that we don't just care for a disease, we care for the human being. And not just our residents, but also their families, because it's really truly about caring for that individual. And for our family members that move their loved one, whether it's their mom, dad, or spouse, into our community who is suffering with dementia, that journey for the family doesn't end. So our whole philosophy of what we do is centered around that family member as well, and making sure that we are providing support for them because their journey doesn't end when they move their loved one into our community. We are a philosophy-based organization, and our philosophy, I'm so proud about it because it's not just a philosophy of care, but it's a philosophy of what we do and what we believe in as a whole. And it's not just for our residents, it permeates throughout anyone that connects with us. So I talked about our families, but we can't do this alone, right? So we have amazing professional partners, amazing community partners that we also work with. And our philosophy just runs deep through all of that. We also have a very unique role at Artis. It's called the Director of Artis Way Experience. And this individual really is like the keeper of this philosophy and making sure that we're living and breathing it every single day in our community. So I can talk for hours about our philosophy and what we do, but I just wanted to give people a nutshell about who we are at Artis.
We are what so many of us love about senior living in this industry and this business is that we're running businesses certainly, but we're emotional, we're very high touch. And at the end of the day, we're all care about no matter where we come from or what position, the residents. And I can just hear the emotion in your voice and how passionate you are, and Amy, and I'm sure the rest of your team members are about Artis. So thank you so much for sharing that. Amy, you and I were recently on a panel together for Seniors Housing News, and had a really great time getting to know you and Paul and the other and the discussion. You said something, and I jotted that down during the discussion. Like, oh my gosh, I have to have her on the podcast because I need to learn more. And I don't know the two of you. Well, and Andrea, this is the first time you and I've met. So you said something about, we're talking about sales talent, and talent, period, is, my big passion is elevating talent. You said your company focuses in 4 areas of sales talent. And I'll be honest, it's all I jotted down. So I want to just pass it on to you. Can you please tell us more about this and how it impacts your business?
Yeah. So we're very fortunate to have Andrea as part of our team. She's our national sales director, and her primary role is development and training of our sales teams, which I think is so important. We also have a strong regional support team behind us as well, 2 other regional sales support who have been with Artis for both of them 6+ years. So together, collectively, we've had many years of service with Artis. So we really know this philosophy. I think with when COVID happened, we were forced to really change our approach to our sales process. And our 4 great minds worked well together to get them through and evolve our sales processes through COVID. I think we focused so much time on making those changes and helping, develop a plan. And now that it's over, we have some time to focus on developing those skills that we've put into place. So we've had the opportunity. Andrea really worked hard on identifying these 4 areas of skills, and we put characteristics and skills below it to develop them and identify who are key players in different areas. So I'll let Andrea get into a little bit more of what that looks like.
I'm chomping up at the bit over here, like, come on, I want to say something.
Yeah. I was trying not to say everything you're about to say. So
I'm taking notes, so take it away, Andrea.
Well, I'm really excited about this. It's, I'm glad that we had the opportunity to learn through COVID, and we're willing to challenge ourselves as sales leadership to say, what can we do different? Senior living sales has changed. It's needed to change. Right? We needed to evolve. We really needed to professionalize what we're doing. We're hiring salespeople, and the senior living sale, it's not easy, especially now. We are selling something that people don't really want to do, right? So we really, really need to develop our talent. And now that we've gone through COVID, we've learned, we have been able to look at, what does our training look like? What does the development of our salespeople look like? Because we want them to stay, right? At the end of the day, our goal is to have committed people. Like I told you a little bit about our philosophy and how much we believe in it. And if you talk to our sales team and anyone that works for Artis, they'll say they also believe in it. So having someone that has that passion is great. So now we really need to refine and develop their sales skills. So we did, as a team, we sat together and we went, what are those areas that we need to look at and focus on?
Okay.
And we came up with 4 main groupings. I'd like to share that with you now, Julie, if that's good. Okay. So the first grouping or main category we looked at was sales planning.
Okay.
And this comprises things like the ability to be strategic in planning for how they are going to increase their census, and also increase our professional and what we call community-based referrals as well. Looking at that internal sales side and really being able to micro-identify how are we planning what we're doing with our prospects and influencers to create wow experiences. And then also things like database management and really that ability to analyze numbers to drive decisions. So our sales planning is the first category. Our second category is really getting into the nitty-gritty of selling skills. So we use a sales system. Julie, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with this, the Build sales system. Yeah, so we have been using that sales system since I started at Artis 6+ years ago. And we find and evolve that as well. So taking that sales system and really breaking it down so we can provide smaller group trainings and workshops based on who we identified needs more development as well. And so those are things that the ability to be empathetic in the sales process is huge, right? The ability to truly drill down and needs match in a way that is getting our family member to have their own, what I call aha moment. And of course, the ability to close. We just did a workshop last month. And our workshops now, we used to do kind of bigger group workshops. We decided to be focused on doing more smaller group workshops and offering an environment for our sales team that'll give an opportunity for them to learn in a way that's great for them. So we have these real-time small group interactive workshops, but we also use a platform called Smart Winner. And we recently have started a knowledge content area. We call it a knowledge hub, where we're able to put great information on there. So everything that we're training and talking about with our sales teams can be reinforced at a time when the learning is good for them, right? Sometimes having that workshop at 2:00 in the afternoon doesn't work. But we did the smaller group format and really focused on how do I identify appropriate and creative next steps. Our third category is just the base is knowledge. What do you know about artists? Because we have to be credible and trustworthy. What do you know about the industry? And also what's very important to us is what do you know about your specific community? When I walk around a community, I expect our sales teams to know the care partners' names, to know our resident names and family names. They need to know the stories of the community because our prospective families, they want to hear that in professionals. And then our final category is focusing on interpersonal skills, being able to work in that team environment, being able to go through some tough times and be able to resolve conflict, right? The ability to have clear communication. So those are the 4 main groupings that we've identified. I'm also in the process of developing modules and trainings and resources for our teams have that at their fingertips. I'm very excited about this.
Yeah. So what we did,
go ahead. Yeah, Amy.
What we did too, Julie, is we ranked our sales team based off of who are champions in these categories. And the subcategories of all 4 of these things, who are competent and who need skill development. And then we're including our champions in the trainings, you know, and with the ones that still need some skill development. So it's reinforcement for them of the skills that they're excelling on, while also still identifying that there may be areas of opportunity for them to do better in other areas of the sales process. So there's reinforcement of their skills while supporting and giving additional skills as well.
You know, it's very difficult to take either a complex, a complex arena or something with multifacets, which senior living sales, and I agree so wholeheartedly, it's difficult sale. People want it, they don't need it. They need it, they don't want it, excuse me. And to take what you've done is you've taken a lot of components and narrowed it down to boom, 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 boom. It sounds so simple. It's very difficult to do that. So I commend you, number one. When people say, you know, the top 3 things, it looks so simple. It's easier to say the top 20, right? And I wanted to ask you, I love these categories. I agree. And within each one, like you said, there's subcategories just with selling skills, you know, in and of itself. But that selling skills, you know, you're measured by, you know, certain very tangible, you know, conversions, and we can look at data. Can I ask you, and same with knowledge of the industry, we can like ask questions and see what they know, but interpersonal skills, how do you kind of test, or if you will, assess for that? What are you looking for? And can you give us an example of support or coaching or training around interpersonal skills?
Yeah, that is the one category that is not as well developed yet, but really one of our focuses around this interpersonal skills. I'll take one example is really the ability for our sales teams to be able to connect with some of the key directors that they have to partner with really on almost a daily basis to have census in the community. And I'm sure you've heard this struggle before, Julie, right? Where the sales teams and say a director of health and wellness, which is what we call our nursing team, a health and wellness team, right? They have their needs with taking care of our residents, right? Providing that quality care. But also there's needs of being able to do timely assessments, getting people to move in and having tough discussions sometimes when we feel like maybe this person, would be better suited at another community versus ours. So really being able to work with the communities to get them to have that open level of communication. So the first step with that is challenging them to have that conversation. And we would utilize also, we have a regional director of health and wellness. We have 2 regional directors and a VP of health and wellness at Artis. And we use them to help support this mission. Because a lot of times a messaging like that is really better heard from a director of health and wellness support. And getting people to see the challenges, the expectations of both roles, and then following through with that. Making sure and using our regional sales support to making sure when they are on those on-site visits that we are addressing those issues and concerns and really, really working through that. So a lot of this is identified by Amy and the other 2 regional sales individuals, and also bringing in other regional support by identifying what areas do we see as challenges. And if we do identify a community that's developing, then really making sure we are addressing those issues.
Another resource that we use, Julie, too, is our employee assistance program. There's a ton of resources and trainings that are available for that interpersonal skills piece to it. So again, we do an analysis of each individual and identify where those key areas might be and tailor our training and support based off of that. We do use the EAP quite a bit from a training perspective as well for that. We say it all the time, you could teach people skills, but you can't change a personality. But there are ways to fine tune the skills that are needed for the sales process.
I agree 100%. I really do. It's the individual's desire, right? Which to desire to lean in, to grow, to learn, to develop. And don't you wish that this developing the EQ or interpersonal skills, leadership skills, good listening skills, good listening skills was taught like starting in elementary school, just that we emphasized it as much as we do some other courses, right? It's important and to be successful in life. It's certainly in this arena. So because we're juggling.
It takes skills, specific skills, and so it's important to identify it during the interview process too. So having those key interview questions and just being able to spend enough time so you can delve into who they really are, and not just making it about how they could perform the job requirements, and you have to be, and you could identify some of the challenges of interpersonal skills just through that interview process. So it starts from there, really.
I love the fact that, thank you both so much for jumping on and sharing your knowledge. A couple key takeaways from my side are the fact that, like I said, it's challenging to do what you've done in developing this 4 categories of talent, and then the subcategories, and I'm developing all of this training and coaching and support, and that it's forefront for you, and that the talent is really what is a linchpin really from which everything is going to where we're going to get results, right? And because it's important to you, because it's important to the company, and you've put so much emphasis on this, where you put emphasis, you're going to get result. And it's not just a one and done thing. I mean, this is part of your culture and part of the, supporting and helping others grow and learn. And you do the lives, you do the smaller groups, the large groups, you have the libraries. It just speaks so much to walking that walk, and probably why you have such great retention, is we do want to retain great talent. And if someone isn't, maybe right, maybe it isn't the right role for an individual, or it's just not the right fit, and they choose to maybe do a different path, then that's going to happen in every job, and it's necessary. But retaining that key talent, is key in our ongoing success.
Yeah. When you have that, you have that ability to provide that support. For me personally, if you provide me that support, you provide me the belief in my skills, you provide me the growth opportunities, and you push me, I'm dedicated. And that's what we're seeing with our salespeople. They see the investment we're making in them. And when they're on board, it's they stay, and it's working beautifully for us.
Yeah.
So
that's great. That is great. So again, thank you both, Amy and Andrea, for joining. If someone would like to get in touch with you, maybe learn a little bit more, how do they do that?
They could find me on LinkedIn. I'm sure you'll have my name, or both of us on LinkedIn, or they could email us as well. It's our first initial of our first name and our last name at artismgmt.com.
yes, and they could go to our website too, artisseniorliving.com.
And also, if they're curious just to see glimpses of our community, visit our Facebook pages. You'll really get to see some great things our residents are doing. We just had an opportunity to meet with a resident ambassador at one of our communities in Chicago, at our community in Elmhurst. And he was so happy to show us this painting he did of King Tut. And that was so cool. And so if you really want to see what Artis is about, I also recommend visiting our Facebook pages.
Well, thank you again. I'm so motivated, and I love that the passion that you both have for who you serve and what you do just shines through. And I'm so grateful to get to know both of you, and Andrea, to meet you today.
Yeah,
and
nice
I cannot wait to have you guys back on, because I want to pick your brain a little bit more about more topics like outreach and some of these other key pieces. But in the meantime, thank you all for listening to another episode of the Grow Your Occupancy podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.